And I now yield to the ranking member, Mr. McGovern, for any comments that he wishes to make.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. So before us this week is the National Defense Authorization Act. Last year, Republicans turned what's supposed to be a national security funding bill into a right-wing wish list. They loaded it up with attacks on reproductive rights. They targeted LGBTQ service members. They went after diversity programs in the military. It wasn't about defense. It wasn't about protecting this country. It was all about playing politics with our national defense. And I fear it will be the exact same thing this year. The same extremist playbook. Pass it out of committee with bipartisan support, then blow it up on the House floor with a pile of culture war garbage that has nothing to do with keeping America safe. So let's be clear. This isn't about national defense. It's about political theater. It's about turning the Department of Defense, the Department of War, since Donald Trump apparently changed the name, into a campaign prop. Kind of interesting that the president who says he wants a Nobel Peace Prize is fantasizing about war. But I guess that makes sense coming from the guy who's never actually been in a war because he had bone spurs. And just this weekend, he posted, and I quote, "Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." Let that sink in. A sitting president threatening to use the U.S. military to wage war on an American city against American citizens. That's not leadership. That's nuts. Imagine if President Obama tweeted out that he was going to war with Republican-led cities. You guys would be having a meltdown. And putting all that aside, I'll tell you this. I don't vote for the NDAA. I think I might have voted yes on the NDAA once in my entire career. And the reason why is quite simple. I refuse to send nearly $1 trillion to an agency that can't even pass an audit. The Pentagon loses track of an insane amount of taxpayer money year after year, and we reward them with more. No, that's not defense. That's insanity. The stuff they overpay for is insane. The Air Force paid a $150,000 markup on soap dispensers, $1,500 for a single coffee cup. Those aren't just numbers I made up. They came from the very conservative Heritage Foundation. Imagine if we invested all those billions of wasted dollars here at home on ending hunger, on housing, or education, or making people's lives better. But instead, we're stuck in this circus. And speaking of circuses, let's talk about the Epstein files. Despite the best efforts of my friends on the other side, this issue is not going to go away. Republicans are doing everything they can to stall, distract, and cover up. Republicans on oversight touted releasing new records, but the vast majority of the documents they released were already public. Up in Massachusetts, we call that a scam. And while survivors stood outside the Capitol begging for justice, sharing their painful stories, Donald Trump sat in the Oval Office calling the whole thing, quote, irrelevant. I still can't believe he said that. The victims are begging for transparency, begging for us to pass the Massey Connor bill, begging for this administration to release the files, and the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, says that they are irrelevant, says it's all a hoax. It wasn't a hoax when Trump promised to release all the files. It wasn't a hoax when his own allies said that they had the client list sitting on their desk and were ready to make it public. And now get this, Speaker Mike Johnson said Donald Trump was an FBI informant on this case. Now, I'm not surprised the Speaker walked it back because usually an informant knows something about what's going on. Being an informant implies being in on the crime. So again, we really, really, really need to know what the hell is in those files. And we need Republicans to stop shielding the powerful and start standing with the survivors. It's simple. Republicans can either sign the bipartisan Massey Connor discharge petition, or better yet, put the bill on the floor this week, which will finally give the public the full truth, or they can keep burying it. No more stalling, no more excuses, no more cover-ups. Release the files. I yield back.